Inside the Magic, show number 432 for July 14th, 2013. It is Sunday, July 14th, 2013. This is show 432 of Inside the Magic, and as always, I am your host, Ricky Briganti, with another great show packed with Disney and theme park and movie and D23 Expo news. Before we get to all of that, I invite you to visit our website at InsideTheMagic.net. There not only will you find our podcast, but you'll also find plenty of videos and photos and news and articles and all that good stuff. And if you ever have any news, tips, questions, comments, anything else you want to send in, you can always email me at ricky@InsideTheMagic.net, or you can call and leave a message at 407-494-4ITM. That's 4486. And now, let's get on with the show. This week's episode of Inside the Magic is brought to you by Magical Travel. Walt Disney World is offering to save you money all summer long to the fall. With travel between now and September 28th, you can save up to 30% at select Walt Disney World resort hotels. There's also a free dining offer for Walt Disney World guests for arrivals most nights between September 2nd and the September 25th. And you're going to want to call Magical Travel today to book any or all of that at 866-207-8387, or visit them online at magicaltravel.com to receive a free price quote. And while you're doing that, be sure to mention Inside the Magic to receive your free Disney gift card for qualifying bookings when you book your Disney vacation with Magical Travel. And of course, thank you very much to all of our single donation donators, recurring donation subscribers, and anybody who's contributing anything by clicking through any of those affiliate links like Amazon.com over on InsideTheMagic.net. It all supports the show, and I thank you very much for all of it. And now, let's get started with our trip around the world. So we'll start things off, as we have done so many times over the last few months, with an update on limited time magic. Coming up this week at Walt Disney World at the Magic Kingdom, the return of Long Lost Friends Week. It's July 15th through July 21st. Not quite as exciting as the first time around. Some of the repeat characters, some new ones, some surprises, apparently. Included in the lineup this time around will be the Robin Hood gang once again. Brer Bear and Brer Rabbit will be there, along with Louis the Alligator and Dr. Facilier from The Princess and the Frog, which is who I am excited to see, because I've never had a picture with Louis. I don't think he's ever been available for meet and greets before. So that should be nice. And Chicken Little is going to be there also. And as I said, some other surprises. So that is coming up this week. Meanwhile, out at Disneyland, not so limited time apparently for the Dapper Dan singing boy bands, because they're going to be doing it again. This time around, it's going to be taking place July 15th through the 21st, as I just said. Seems like it'll probably be the same thing all over again. I don't know. Maybe they have a new medley. We'll see. But that is at Disneyland. Meanwhile, looking ahead to the D23 Expo coming up next month, August 9th through 11th, just under a month from now at the Anaheim Convention Center, just outside Disneyland. Lots of news as to what attendees of that convention will be expecting, starting with Disney Interactive. They've announced their lineup of presentations, as well as what they're going to be doing on the show floor. Of course, Disney Infinity is the big title that they are going to be promoting there. They're going to have a big arena presentation on Sunday, August 11th at noon. Called To Infinity and Beyond, Disney Interactive Takes the Stage. And there, they will, of course, be showing off Disney Infinity. In fact, everybody who attends that presentation is going to receive a never-before-seen Disney Infinity figure for free. Nice little perk there. There will also be a live demo of Fantasia Music Evolved, the upcoming game, with a performance from the Disney Chamber Ensemble. And in addition, this is kind of bizarre, there's going to be something called Blank, a Vinylmation love story. That will be debuted there, part of an upcoming web series based on Vinylmation, apparently, in which Vinylmations will fall in love. Interesting there. There will also be a Disney Interactive Pavilion on the show floor, located in Hall B, in which you'll be able to play Disney Infinity, get hands-on with Fantasia Music Evolved. There's going to be a D23 Expo story scavenger hunt using Disney's new personal storytelling app called Story. And there'll be some other surprises as well throughout all of that. That is definitely not the most exciting news that came out for the D23 Expo this week, because the this year's honorees for the Disney Legends Awards were announced. Of course, the awards ceremony is going to take place at the D23 Expo once again, except this time it's not kicking off the whole show. In the past, I think both in 2009 and 2011, it was one of the very first, if not the very first, presentation to take place. This time it'll be taking place on Saturday, August 10th at 2 p.m., so about halfway through the expo. It will be hosted once again by Tom Bergeron of Dancing with the Stars and America's Funniest Home Videos. And so the honorees that will be accepting the awards or having people accept them on their behalf this year are Steve Jobs, of course, of Apple fame, the late Steve Jobs, so someone will certainly be accepting the award on his behalf, as well as Dick Clark. He will be made a Disney legend as well. Billy Crystal and John Goodman will be there, of course, for their work on Monsters, Inc., Monsters University, and, anything else that they did for Disney. Imagineer Tony Baxter is going to become a Disney legend, as well as the late Imagineer Colin Campbell. Legendary animator Glenn Keane will be accepting an award, and Ed Wynn, who was the voice of the Mad Hatter in Alice in Wonderland and had many other roles throughout Disney history. He won't be there, unfortunately. Of course, he is not around anymore, but I'm sure somebody will be there to accept on his behalf. Now, this time around, it doesn't seem like there's going to be some sort of huge performance surrounding the Legends ceremony as there was in the past. I asked D23 if that would be the case, and they kind of insinuated that there are a lot of other great musical performances that will be happening throughout the expo, including the Richard Sherman Alan Menken concert. There's going to be a Broadway performance, so it seems like things are a little bit different this time around for the D23 Expo. I'm sure the Legends ceremony will be wonderful. It'll be great to see a lot of those people in person or to see the tributes to them, but I wouldn't necessarily expect a big musical tribute to Dick Clark, for instance. Now, this Disney Legends ceremony is actually overlapping, at least in the current version of the D23 Expo schedule, with the Voices of the Disney Parks panel. It'll be taking place simultaneously in stage 28, so you got to choose between those two, which is unfortunate because both the Legends ceremony and that Voices panel are surely both going to be quite entertaining. Now, some more announcements for the upcoming expo. All I have to do is say two big words: Star Wars. That's right, there will be a presence for Star Wars there, though it may not be as big as folks would hope. No news as to whether anything from Episode 7 will be there. There's a lot of rumors that there will be, the cast is going to be announced or something like that. Disney's not saying. It's possible, maybe it'll be part of the studio's presentation, who knows. But for now, all Disney is saying is that Disney Consumer Products and Lucasfilm will be there for a variety of Star Wars and Marvel as well, and other sort of purchasing opportunities throughout the D23 Expo. In the world of Star Wars, there's going to be something called Crash Course in the Force, Star Wars Saga 101. And that's going to be presented by Lucasfilm's resident authority Pablo Hidalgo at Stage 23, basically giving an introduction to the world of Star Wars, much like a couple of years ago they did for Marvel. After that purchase, they did almost a Marvel 101, really let everybody know what Marvel was all about. I'm not sure there's anybody out there that doesn't know what Star Wars is all about, but if you don't, this is what you can see. In addition, there's going to be an exhibit in the Disney Consumer Products Pavilion called Darth Vader, The Evolution of a Villain. And that's, of course, going to show the evolution of Darth Vader with plenty of artwork from early concepts to the final realization. In the world of Marvel, that will certainly be around at the Expo. And again, we're not talking about the Walt Disney Studios, a big movie-related presentation. This is just kind of everything else. The studio's highlights and what you can expect from that won't be available for another couple of weeks. But Spider-Man's Ultimate Innovation will be there. That's going to feature a variety of products related to both Spider-Man and the Avengers. Something called the Assembling the Avengers franchise will be there. In addition, in other merchandise, of course, it's going to be the Dream Store, be a Disney Junior fun spot with a whole lot of Disney merchandise. Disney Publishing will be there, hosting a few Stage 28 presentations and signings for a variety of upcoming books, including Disney Imagineering legend Marty Sklar, presenting his new book, Dream It, Do It. And Ridley Pearson will be there for the latest in the Kingdom Keep Keepers, and Dave Bossert will be there with Remembering Roy E. Disney with special guest Roy P. Disney. So certainly lots to look forward to with the D23 Expo, and that's not even the whole schedule yet. Still got about 3 weeks before we know everything that's going to be there. Now, here's something really, really interesting that is D23 Expo related, but not 100%, that Disney launched earlier this week. It's sort of a collaboration between Walt Disney Imagineering Research and Development and the Walt Disney Studios. So that's kind of an odd combination right there, WDI-R&D with the studios. It's something called The Optimist, and I've had a great time playing this so far. It is an alternate reality game, often known as an ARG, basically designed to blur the lines between history, the future, fiction, fact. They're taking sort of real-life elements of Disney past, such as the really focusing in on the 64-65 World's Fair. Carousel of Progress, It's a Small World, Ford, Magic Skyway, all of that kind of thing. But they're tying in fictional elements. They've created these characters online and blogs that you can follow, and you can interact with these characters as if they are real people. And the story is unfolding. It's all rooted at storyorbit.com, and on Twitter, that same name, StoryOrbit. There's a character named Amelia who basically is working on a documentary about her grandfather named Carlos. He has passed away, as the story goes, but he was involved somehow with Disney and the World's Fair, and she's trying to figure out exactly what his involvement was because he never told her, and she's kind of sifting through his old belongings and posting them little by little. One of the latest developments was she found a stack of records that had Sherman Brothers tunes on there, of course, Great Big Beautiful Tomorrow, and she's actually sending those records out to people, physical records, and this is what the game involves. It's not only communicating online, but you'll also receive things in the mail, maybe even, you can interact right back and forth on Twitter, post on the blog and chill right back and forth, and other characters as well, and even visit physical locations. One of the hints that happened over the last week of gameplay was Amelia posting a napkin from the TAM, as all it said, of course, is the Tam O'Shanter in Los Angeles, a frequented restaurant by Walt Disney and his fellow Imagineers years and years ago. And so just a couple of days ago, of course, I'm not in California, but in playing the game and sort of moving things forward, I sent a message over to Jeremiah Dawes and said, hey, can you head on over to the Tam O'Shanter and see what is going on? And while he was there, he came across some artwork that not previously in the restaurant, something that showed up fairly recently that showed Imagineers at the Tam, and it's got sort of depictions of Walt Disney, John Hench, Mary Blair, Bob Gurr, and they're all working on very mysterious things on the table that seem to, be ordinary until you take a closer look. And then on the actual table where Walt Disney would always dine at, there are now carvings with special messages that are related to the game. And this is going to go on for the next 5 weeks leading up to the D23 Expo. Disney has said it's going to take you around Los Angeles, take you to Disneyland, looking for things, hunting for things, reporting back online, and then ultimately it is going to culminate at the Expo, and some of the characters apparently are going to be there in person. It's pretty exciting. And now it seems, this is not confirmed, but it seems, being part of the studio as well, that this is going to ultimately tie into the Tomorrowland movie starring George Clooney. Maybe George Clooney will show up to the Expo. Who knows? But that is, sort of speculation at this point. The starting point for it all is optimist.disney.com. You sign up, you register, you begin reading and everything, and to keep everybody up to date, I've also created a live Google Doc over on InsideTheMagic.net to where you can basically keeping a summary of all the developments and all the pictures and everything that everybody has shared, and we can all work together to solve the mystery of the Optimist. It's really fun, and it's all free. You just play along for the next few weeks and see how it all culminates at the Expo. So if you want to play along, you want to join in the hunt, if you will, the solving the mystery, head over to the website, just search for the Optimist on there, and you'll find a link, or check the show notes for this week, and I'm tweeting out the link quite regularly as well. So hope to see you there, and we'll see where it all goes. And, of course, we've been talking about the D23 Expo a lot, but before that hits, coming up is a much, much bigger convention than that, is the San Diego Comic-Con. Now, I've already talked about what Disney's involvement is going to be there, which is not nearly as much as it has been in the past, of course, because the D23 Expo is happening this year, but there will be some Disney presence, so I will certainly be staying on top of that. It's coming up this week, Wednesday through Sunday. Disney Infinity will be there. There'll be DuckTales Remastered, Castle of Illusion. Of course, Marvel will be there, comics and everything. There'll be a Roger Rabbit anniversary panel, a Disney Afternoon panel for the anniversary of that. So very exciting. I'll definitely be following all that and plenty more. I'm going to be doing the Walking Dead Escape once again this year. A lot of people have watched my very silly video from last year where I stumbled my way through an obstacle course for 30 minutes avoiding zombies. So yeah, I'm going to be doing that all over again. And I don't know, lots of fun to be had. So definitely follow along on InsideTheMagic.net and on Twitter and Facebook and YouTube and all of that to see all the fun from San Diego Comic-Con this week from the worlds of Disney and beyond. Speaking of beyond, let's turn our attention overseas now, where the classic Jungle Cruise experience at Tokyo Disneyland is going to be enhanced. It was announced this week by the Oriental Land Company that reopening in the fall of next year, 2014, the Jungle Cruise will have new effects, a new musical score for the first time ever, and even a special nighttime version of the attraction. The Jungle Cruise has been in that park since 1983, since the park opened, and now it's going to have more lighting, special show effects, a specially written musical soundtrack for not only the first time there, but for the first time in any Jungle Cruise ride history. And no word as to exactly what the After Dark special version of that will be, but it will have something to do with a startling encounter with one of the animal spirit guardians in the ruins of a lost jungle temple. Sounds like a lot of fun. Jungle Cruise is going to close, of course, temporarily at Tokyo Disneyland beginning January 6th of next year, 2014. Reopening sometime in the fall. The estimated cost for this upgrade is around $16 million US, and hopefully, if that goes over well, I'd love to see those improvements come out here to Florida as well. Now, in the world of video games, just a few minutes ago, I mentioned DuckTales Remastered, which I'm really looking forward to playing. I'm finally going to get a chance at Comic-Con this week, which I should also mention. I was talking recently about the I Am 8-Bit Gallery out in Los Angeles, that they were, around the time of E3, they had Scrooge McDuck's money bin that you could take a picture with. Well, I have confirmed with Capcom that money bin will be at Comic-Con as well, so I'm really, really looking forward to jumping in there and getting my picture. But Capcom this week also announced the release date, or release dates, actually, of DuckTales Remastered. It's kind of a weird, staggered schedule. In North America, the game will be available for digital download on August 13th on the PlayStation Network, the Nintendo eShop, for Wii U, and as well as PC. Those of you who want it for Xbox on Xbox Live, you're going to have to wait till September 11th, almost a month later. In between there, on August 20th, for those of you with a PS3, you're actually going to be able to buy a collectible boxed version on store shelves. It's just going to have a download code, but it will also have a collectible DuckTales Remastered pin with Scrooge McDuck's face on it. So even if you don't have a PS3, it may be worth getting that just to get the pin. It's only $20 in the box, or I think it's $15 if you buy it online. Capcom has also released what they're calling a Duckumentary series of videos, the first of which is available on our YouTube channel right now. Definitely looking forward to playing DuckTales Remastered in the near future. And back, continuing with video game news here, back to Disney Infinity. Of course, that's going on sale in August, just a week after the D23 Expo. Well, at the time of that launch, you're going to get Monsters University, you're going to get Pirates, you're going to get The World of Cars. Coming later, it's known that there will be a Toy Story edition. Well, it seems some additional Disney Infinity information has leaked this week as the result of some product listings on a French website. Apparently, Mickey Mouse is going to be part of Disney Infinity sometime later this year, as well as the characters from Frozen. I'm sure that's no surprise to anybody, but that will be some additional playset and or figure additions later this year. Of course, that game will be available for Xbox 360, PlayStation 3, Wii U, 3DS, and PC on August 23rd. Actually, that's the date I'm reading here, but I don't think that's correct. Maybe that's the overseas date, but it's a week after the D23 Expo is when it's going to be available in the U.S. Now let's turn to the world of movies for some pretty exciting news that came out this week. Disney revealed a first official look at Tom Hanks portraying Walt Disney in the upcoming film Saving Mr. Banks, alongside Emma Thompson as Mary Poppins, as Mary Poppins author P.L. Travers. And in addition to releasing the first official photo from the film, which came out one day, a few hours later, maybe it was the next day later, they actually released the first trailer for Saving Mr. Banks, which has been hugely popular. Everybody's very excited to see Tom Hanks as Walt Disney. It's, he looks a lot like him, certainly. Tom Hanks is unable to fully shed his immediately recognizable voice. He sounds like Woody. But I think it'll work. The movie's going to be a lot of fun for sure. If you haven't seen the trailer, definitely head on over to our website or our YouTube channel to see it immediately. You see scenes from Disneyland. You see the actors playing the Sherman Brothers, which is great. That's Jason Schwartzman and B.J. Novak. Great casting there. The movie's coming out December 20th of this year, and a little bit later in this week's show, we're going to have a sort of a closer look at the trailer and a bit of a history behind that relationship between Disney and P.L. Travers, so stay tuned for that. And speaking of movies here, though, outside of the world of Disney, Legendary Pictures has signed an agreement with Universal Studios, a multi-year film partnership that essentially will take the world of whatever films Legendary comes out for 5 years, beginning in 2014. And it specifically mentions that they want Universal to promote those films in their theme parks. And whether that translates to simple promotion or building attractions, that much is not clear yet. Now, in the past, Legendary's had some very close work with Warner Brothers to develop movies or produce movies like Batman Begins, that series from Christopher Nolan, as well as Man of Steel, and even 2006's Superman Returns. Now, that's all kind of a thing of the past. Six Flags is the theme park that has control, or the rights, rather, the exclusive licensing agreement for those DC Comics characters. So those aren't likely to be a part of this agreement for Universal's future. However, Legendary films like Pacific Rim, 300, Clash of the Titans, Inception, the upcoming Godzilla, just to name a few, and whatever over the next 5 years, starting next year, Legendary comes out with, all of that could be part of the Universal theme parks. So a lot of exciting IP for Universal to work with over the next few years. And speaking of Universal Studios, the audition call went out this week for Halloween Horror Nights for a specific musical theater performance, basically revealing the news that the Rocky Horror Picture Show will be returning to Halloween Horror Nights out here in Orlando this year. They haven't officially announced it, but they are already auditioning for it, so that pretty much confirms that they will be having it. It's been a couple of years since Rocky Horror was at Horror Nights. They had a magic show last year and the Death Drums show a couple of years ago, so I'm looking forward to seeing Rocky Horror coming back this year. And also, a day or two from now, you can expect an announcement for a next haunted house, most likely going to be The Evil Dead, which I'm also looking forward to. Should be a lot of fun there. And last bit of news this week is for the world of My Magic Plus and Magic Band and all of that. Recently, Disney Parks and Resorts Chairman Tom Stagg said in testing, which is currently Magic Bands and all of that are being tested by about 1,000 people at Walt Disney World. Stagg said in an interview with Allen and Company's annual conference in Idaho that the wristbands, Magic Bands, are indeed boosting spending by guests. He didn't really elaborate as to how or how much or why or anything like that, but according to the tests that they're doing, it is working in their favor, which is a good thing. So actually a little bit more on Magic Bands and specifically FastPass Plus coming up here in just a few minutes, but that'll do it for your news from around the world this week. Now, I actually have a series of 8 tips. I'm going to read them all here. It's going to be a little bit longer, the tip for today, but I wanted to include them all because it's a really unique a set of tips that Anna has sent in with this week going out to Comic-Con. Of course, there's a lot of great artwork, and specifically comic artwork going on at Comic-Con. I thought it would be great to share this fun set of tips this week. Anna writes, I have several tips for artists going to Walt Disney World. I myself am in school for animation, and I draw a ton. Though it may seem odd to be drawing at a theme park, my classes usually ask for 20 sketches a day, so drawing 24/7 is just something I do automatically, and Walt Disney World is my favorite place to sketch. Over the times I've been there, I've had a couple tips for artists and people who just need to relax at the park. So, number 1, if you want to sketch anywhere at a park, I recommend doing it alone or with someone who just wants to read or relax. It's hard to sketch when your family wants to get up and do things when you're trying to finish up Splash Mountain in 5 seconds. Also, personally, I just don't like it when people hover over me when I sketch. Number 2, a good way to get some time alone is to just take half an hour away from your group and meet up with them later. That way you're free to roam the park and sketch anything that you want. Number 3, another way to sketch alone is to have a not have to be completely astray from your group, is sketch while everyone goes on a ride. Even if the wait time is only 10 minutes, just wait outside for everyone and sketch while you wait. Number 4, my absolute favorite place to sketch and relax is Tom Sawyer's Island in the Magic Kingdom. I adore that island so much. It is always so calm, and there are many places to sit and sketch some fantastic views. Even if you have to watch over kids, they can run around a bit and have some fun. This is also the perfect place for reading or even taking a nap. Number 5, I absolutely recommend taking an hour or more on your own and sketch something from every pavilion at the World Showcase. The views are fantastic, and it's like traveling the world to sketch in an hour. Number 6, like always sketching in public, you get the occasional person who hovers over you. Just smile and continue doing what you do. If a kid takes notice in what you're drawing, I always offer to draw them their favorite Disney character. The smiles you get in return are priceless. And apparently there's only 7, although the last one was numbered 8. So we'll just call it number 8. One last tip that just applies to trying to get people into animation: keep doing what you do. Take every bit of advice you get in your classes and don't underestimate anything that your teachers say to you. Also know that most animation classes only take the best, so you are in these classes for a reason, so don't doubt yourself in any situation. Anna, thanks very much for all of those tips. You know, I've never just sort of sat in the parks and thought about drawing things. It's something I wish I did more of, and maybe I'll have to take your tips one day and just kind of head over there and relax and sit down and sketch away instead of, running around and getting all hot and sweaty and writing stuff like I tend to do in the park. So great tips there. Everybody else, email your tips into tips@insidethemagic.net. And now, before we jump into some interesting news regarding My Magic Plus, I want to talk about Capturing Magic, the iPhone apps that are the ultimate tool for documenting and recording the magic of your Disney vacation, whether you're at Disney World or Walt Disney... got that backwards. Disneyland or Walt Disney World. Capturing Magic offers a helpful list of photo opportunities and memories to capture before, during, and after your trip. It's really the perfect way to ensure that you don't miss any of those magical moments, because while you're in the parks, the app is going to remind you of any desired photo ops that you've pre-chosen when you're near those locations. And whenever you take a photo, you can use the app to mark off who's in it, what camera you used, and then later you can find, export, and organize everything, even emailing yourself a list of all the photos that you took during your trip. The Capturing Magic iPhone apps are available now in the iTunes App Store. We have been talking about My Magic Plus and FastPass Plus and all the other pluses for quite a while now, and things are starting to move along nicely. As I said, tests have begun rolling out across certain Walt Disney World Resort guests where magic bands are making their way around. People are using the system, and what does that mean for everybody? When is it going to be available? How are you going to use it? How does it work, etc.? Well, Disney is finally beginning to answer some of these questions. Now, it is not available for everybody yet. It is still very much in testing. It's going to be sometime this year. We've got about 6 months left of the year, so plenty of time for them to fully roll it out as they work out the details. But there is an FAQ that has been posted online that is there essentially for the aid of those who are already using the system. According to Disney, over the coming months, select guests with Magic Your Way vacation packages will be notified when their package is either booked or when they are maybe a month out or whenever. They will be notified that they can participate in the My Magic Plus testing if they so choose, which includes the FastPass Plus eligibility. Now, that eligibility word is very key, and it really changes things in the way that all of this is worded. So I kind of want to run through some of these FAQ items to really share how this whole FastPass Plus system is going to work, and more importantly, how does it relate to the original FastPass system? Well, number one question that is on here is, I am FastPass Plus eligible, but I did not reserve access to any of the attractions in advance. When I arrive at the theme park, can I still get FastPass tickets? So basically, I have FastPass Plus. I didn't use it, or maybe I did. When I get there, can I use the old FastPass system instead? Well, according to Disney, no. If you are FastPass Plus eligible and you enter the park with a ticket that is linked to your My Disney Experience account, and whether it's a Magic Band or your RFID enabled card, if you use that ticket to get in the park, you cannot use the traditional FastPass service. That's because the old FastPass service doesn't accept the RFID. It's not on the same system. However, Disney says FastPass Plus experiences are still available when you get in the park. You can reserve attractions by either using your mobile phone linked to your My Disney Experience account or at a FastPass Plus kiosk in the park. Now, those who are not FastPass Plus eligible, which is the vast majority of us at this point, the traditional FastPass system is still there. So what does that mean? Disney is essentially saying once FastPass Plus and My Magic Plus and the Magic Bands and all of that is rolled out, the FastPass system that we've known for so many years now is going away. They will not coexist. FastPass Plus essentially is replacing it. Now, it's not going to happen overnight. Obviously, they are rolling it out little by little, but eventually, as long as, obviously things can change, but as of this moment, the old FastPass Plus, rather the old FastPass system, which the way that they write it to distinguish it, FastPass, the old word, is written in all caps, whereas FastPass Plus seems to be written with a capital F and a capital P, and then the plus at the end. But regardless, that seems to be the way that is all going to work coming up. Now, one of the big concerns with FastPass Plus and My Magic Plus, and it's addressed in this FAQ, is how much planning is going to be necessary. Are you going to ruin the spontaneity of your trip as a result of booking all of these attractions and show times and all of that in advance? And Disney's response to that in the FAQ is, My Magic Plus allows you to plan as much or as little as you wish. Either way, your vacation should be as leisurely and enjoyable as ever. Actually, we hope more than ever. And they go on to say that you have on-the-go flexibility. You can use the mobile app or the kiosks in the park to modify things as you need to. You can, remove things, add things, move things around, get up-to-the-minute information, as they put it. The goal really is to have that up-to-the-minute information. It's no longer you went and you grabbed a FastPass, it's good for this hour, and that's it. Now you have it all at your fingertips, provided that you have a smartphone or other enabled advice there. They continue by saying, spontaneity is at the heart of many Walt Disney World Resort experiences, and FastPass Plus service gives you more freedom to do what you want, when you want it, than ever before. If you change your mind at the park, you can modify your selections, etc., etc., kind of repeating the same thing over and over, basically emphasizing, no, it's not taking the spontaneity out of your trip, it's really just adding layers to it. Another interesting question that is part of this FAQ is whether the standby lines are anticipated to become longer as a result of this, and of course Disney's answer is no. Many people don't like the original FastPass system because they feel like standby lines have gotten longer because of FastPass, so we'll have to wait and see how that goes. Here's another important point. Question is, if I miss my FastPass Plus arrival window, do I lose my opportunity to experience the attraction? Disney's response is, we understand there are many unexpected situations that may arise and cause you to miss your FastPass Plus attraction time, but don't worry. if your plans change. You can modify your selections online with your mobile phone or at a FastPass Plus kiosk. Please try to make changes before the start of your arrival time. If you miss your time due to circumstances beyond your control, talk to a cast member, basically. And, of course, everything's still going to have a standby queue, so you can just get in line if you have to. So, again, it's, flexible. It's not set in stone. You can move things around, which is actually something you can't really do with the current FastPass system, so that is nice. Another interesting point here that many have been asking, how many FastPass Plus experiences am I allowed to reserve for each day and for my entire vacation? Disney's answer here is a little bit vague. They say the total number of FastPass Plus experiences available during a visit depends on several factors, including the availability and the vacation packages and tickets linked to your account. Generally, guests are able to select one set of experiences for each day for every valid theme park ticket linked to the account. And that doesn't really say anything. So we'll still sort of put that off and wait and see what those exact numbers will be. So that's sort of an overview of how the whole system is going to work. It is interesting to know that the classic FastPass experience essentially is being phased out, not going to be part of the universe once FastPass Plus and MyMagic Plus and all of that, becomes available. I'm actually quite looking forward to using the new system. I hope I'm going to be able to just, driving around town as a local, maybe I'll, be at a store, be like, hey, I want to go to Disney in a couple hours. Let me just pull up my phone. Oh, look, Space Mountain's available and Thunder Mountain's available. Let me pick this time and that time. Great, I'm booked. And then I drive over there, hop on a few rides, don't have to wait for anything. That would be really nice. I hope it works like that. We'll see how all of that goes. Now, earlier I mentioned the exciting news that the first trailer for Saving Mr. Banks came out this week. Of course, the film is about the story of how Walt Disney wooed Mary Poppins author P.L. Travers, who didn't initially want Disney to make a movie out of Mary Poppins. She, had really strong connections to her characters and to her work, and that is the story of the film. Now, I don't know a lot of Mary Poppins history. I am not an expert on that subject by any means. However, fortunately, we do have somebody here that you've heard from here on the show. It's been a few months, but Maggie Cambron, who has contributed in the past, is a huge Mary Poppins fan. And so she's here this week to kind of take a closer look and dissect the trailer, if you will, offering a bit of history. It's a historic movie. I wouldn't say there are any spoilers in here, just because, well, all of it really happened, or at least most of it. It is not a documentary, but, so I wouldn't worry about spoilers here so much as adding extra tidbits of information that you may not have known about Disney's relationship with Travers and how all of that came to be. I found it to be completely fascinating, and I hope you do too. So now let's turn our attention over to Maggie to take a closer look at the trailer for Saving Mr. Banks.
Hello, Inside the Magic viewers and listeners. My name is Maggie Cambron, and guess what? I'm back! But a lot of you probably have no idea who I am. I guess about a year ago now, I used to do videos for Ricky and Inside the Magic about stuff in the Disney parks and Disney stuff, but sadly enough, school got in the way of all my Disney fun, so I had to pay attention in school, but now I'm back in the summer so I can do videos again. Now I'm going to talk about things every true Disney fan should know about the new Disney movie, Saving Mr. Banks. So I'm actually going to go scene by scene of what's happening in the new trailer that came out, kind of explaining what's going on, what's happening, all the little details. So let's begin. P.L. Travers, beloved author of the Mary Poppins books, was actually not known for being the most jolly person on the planet. She was actually known for being a very complex woman with somewhat strict personality, as you can see from this clip from the trailer.
Welcome, Mrs. P.L. Travers, to the City of Angels.
It smells like
Jasmine.
chlorine and sweat.
And then in this scene,
20 years ago, I made a promise to my daughters that I would make your Mary Poppins fly off the pages of your books.
Walt Disney did in fact make a promise to his daughters that they'd make the Mary Poppins books into movies, and the fact that Walt Disney actually made a promise to his daughters kind of hit a soft spot for P.L. Travers, being the fact that she had a great relationship with her father, which I'll go more into detail about that later.
Now, let us begin.
These meetings with people like Walt Disney, the Sherman Brothers, and other people working on the project were an actual real thing, and actually P.L. Travers insisted on them being recorded, and there's actually over 39 hours of recordings from these meetings. Mary Poppins is the first project the Sherman Brothers worked on at Disney, and they actually worked on this project for 2 years before meeting P.L. Travers. These meetings were absolutely insane. P.L. Travers kept debating on these weird little things like Well, this weird little thing about a tape measure.
This tape measure to be used as I put it here.
Just as I thought. Extremely stubborn and suspicious.
Because it was a tape measure that my mother had when she was a little girl, and I think it would be very nice.
Yeah, I know. Crazy, right? I'm pretty sure Mother's tape measure was not used in the movie because it didn't say practically perfect in every way, but if it did, that is the coolest tape measure on the planet Earth. And in the trailer, P.L. Travers says this quote,
I won't have her turned into one of your silly cartoons.
was an actual quote from one of the meetings, and she didn't want Walt Disney to make her books into movies because she hated how Hollywood trashed books into movies. And honestly, can you blame her for saying that?
Mary Poppins was a real person?
Indeed, Mary Poppins in fact was a real person, or should I say, two persons. One of them was a great Aunt Helen who used to carry a carpet bag just like Mary Poppins and used to say the saying spit spot, but her carpet bag probably wasn't bigger on the inside like most British things. Then there was her childhood maid named Kate who used to carry a parrot umbrella just like Mary Poppins and used to come and go as she pleased and never told anybody where she was going. Now, if this real Mary Poppins that they show in the trailer is the great aunt or the maid, I actually don't know. I actually researched on IMDb and there on the cast list is a Aunt Ellie and a Nanny Kate, so we just have to wait and see.
It's not the children she comes to save. It's their father. It's your father.
Travers Robert Goff, P.L. Travers' father, was actually inspiration for the character George Banks, being in the fact that he was an actual real banker in real life. And he was actually a bank manager, but then demoted down to a bank clerk, because he actually kind of went through a down spiral in his life, becoming an alcoholic. Even though Pamela Travers did have a great relationship with her father, it didn't last very long, sadly. He died when she was only 7 years old from a high fever. And now this is where it gets truly sad. Being that her mother was so distressed from her father's death, one day she just ran out of the house attempting to commit suicide. And just for the record, she didn't. And when her mother ran out of the house, Pamela Travers, being the oldest of three girls, watched her sisters and told them stories about a magical white horse who could fly even though it didn't have wings, and many people believe that's where the inspiration and magic of Mary Poppins began. So no wonder why she was so complex. She had a complex childhood. It was even recorded that she even said that she made up her own child because she didn't even like her own. She made Mary Poppins not just for people or for a cute little childhood story. She made it as a comfort for herself and her sisters, and now it has been a comfort for so many children around the world. And I know, I'm sorry I kind of got off on a little tangent, but I'll start talking really quickly again and telling you information. I'm actually not going to tell you information, I'm actually just going to say I have no idea if this actual visit with Pamela Travers and Disney actually did happen or not. So I'm doing this against my mom's wishes because she actually didn't want me to admit I don't know something, but I'm going to admit I don't know something because I actually want to know something. So if you actually know if this visit actually did happen, please let me know because I really want to know, being a Disney freak. And this is not really actually a piece of information, this is something ironic I noticed in the trailer. In the trailer they showed Pamela Travers on the carousel, which is the first ride that she rode on at Disneyland. And guess what the only ride there is in Mary Poppins?
Coincidence? I think not!
I couldn't have said it better myself. I hope you actually understood everything I was saying, and I apologize for speaking too fast, but I had all these cool little information and facts and details that I wanted to share, and I only had a short amount of time to do it. So I apologize for speaking really fast. I hope you actually understood everything I was saying, and I hope I actually do more of these soon. So, and I thought I would end with a little Disneyism. So, supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Or...
You can say it backwards, which is docious ali expiastic fragicalirupus, but that's going a bit too far, don't you think?
Thanks very much to Maggie for that insight on everything that we've seen so far from the world of Saving Mr. Banks in that trailer number one. Certainly fascinating. I didn't know half of that, and I'm sure we'll learn a lot more about that relationship. Maybe not all of it will be 100% true of Saving Mr. Banks. As I said, it's not a documentary. It's not supposed to portray 100% historically accurate events. It is a inspired by type of movie, and as such, it is meant to be entertaining, and it surely will be. It comes out at the end of this year. I'm definitely looking forward to it, and we'll certainly welcome Maggie back to the show for some more sort of closer looks, if you will, into a few Disney topics and things that Disney fans really ought to know.
Hi, Ricky.
Hi, Ricky.
Hey, Ricky.
Hi, Ricky.
Hi, Ricky.
Hey, Ricky.
Ricky, this is amazing.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls.
Inside the Magic Listener Feedback.
And now with the rest of the time on this week's show, we're going to try to catch up on some listener feedback, beginning with a couple of emails on the same subject that came in from Keith this week, who writes, listen to the latest Inside the Magic. Good job, as always. You wondered why it appeared that some critics were excited to see The Lone Ranger not doing well. I think excited would be the wrong word to use. I think the reason why some critics are pointing out how a film is underperforming at the box office is because of the budget to make Lone Ranger, $250 million. If you give a movie that big of a price tag, you are setting yourself up for failure. Making back that much money on a film is difficult to do, especially today when not everybody is willing to go to the movies due to the prices of tickets and concession items. I work at a concession stand at a movie theater, and not a day goes by where a customer doesn't complain about the $4.50 Aquafinas or the $7.50 large popcorn. Also take into account the advent of illegal bootlegs online. I'd also say a big misconception about Johnny Depp is that he has always been a box office draw, when in fact it's quite the contrary. According to a Yahoo article I read today, the first movie that he was in that made over $100 million was 1999's Sleepy Hollow. It wasn't until Pirates of the Caribbean, the first one, that he became a big box office draw. Just look at the budget and the gross of his films on IMDb. Rarely did he do a movie that he was in break even before Pirates of the Caribbean. Granted, he is an excellent actor. His name never really puts butts in seats until he became Captain Jack Sparrow. It's not the beginning of the end for anyone involved with the Lone Ranger. If Ryan Reynolds can bounce back from the Green Lantern, then both Armie Hammer and Depp will be just fine. Keith, I definitely agree with you there. I don't think it's an end of anybody's career, especially Johnny Depp. I think people will forget about the Lone Ranger, honestly, especially with Marvel doing so incredibly well. Walt Disney Studios, it's a concern that the Lone Ranger's not doing as well as they had hoped, but with Marvel doing, as I said, so incredibly well, it's kind of one of those like, oh, well, the Lone what? We have Avengers, and we have Thor, and we have Captain America, we have Iron Man, so soon Star Wars, etc. I still don't think there should be so much emphasis in the world on how much money not only does a film make, but how much it cost. For shareholders and those involved in the company, that means something, but for the rest of the world, it means nothing. I just want to see a movie, and I want to enjoy it. I don't care how much it costed to make. I don't care how much it has made. I just want to see it, and I want to enjoy it if it's a good movie. So it doesn't, all the reporting. It seems like so much reporting on movies is about money instead of just simply taking the movie at face value, forgetting about budgets, forgetting about how much actors got paid, etc. Just enjoy the movie. Danny writes in and says, on show 431, you mentioned that some people were complaining about racism in The Lone Ranger, which is funny because one of our professors says that The Lone Ranger does a good job of accurately representing Native Americans, and Depp is from Native American descent. Danny sent me a link to the uc.edu website, the University of Cincinnati, and a professor there highlighted quite a few points about that are very good points about why The Lone Ranger is not racist by any means, including the fact that Tonto, Johnny Depp, remains in face paint throughout most of the film, and according to this professor, Native Americans don the paint only during ceremonies, and Tonto felt threatened throughout this film, and I don't want to spoil anything about why and how and all of that, but so he kept on essentially the face paint because he was threatened, and yeah, again, I don't want to spoil anything, so if you've seen the movie and you want to read it, look for that article over on uc.edu. Thanks for that tidbit, Danny. Taylor writes in on a completely different subject and said, after hearing the last podcast, I became more excited about the Universal Studios Halloween Horror Nights theme of Cabin in the Woods. With that said, I wanted to inform anybody who hasn't seen that film that it is available for viewing on Netflix. So Taylor, thanks for that easy way to see it. I actually own the film because it is quite an excellent horror film, and I'm looking forward to that haunted house as well. Katie from Virginia writes in, says, I love your podcast. I've been listening since 2008, and out of boredom, I've been going back and listening to some of your old shows, again, while driving or doing chores around the house. I'm listening to a show from 2008 in which you mention a Disney animated film scheduled to come out in 2012 called King of the Elves. In doing a little digging online, it looks like it was scrapped in 2009. However, it also seems that it is back in production as of 2011. Do you have any information about this film? Katie, I honestly didn't even even remember saying that. It's been quite a while since, obviously you said it's 5 years ago that was being discussed. And I found the same information that you did online trying to dig up the latest on it. I saw where it was canceled, and then there were some suggestions that it had sort of come back alive. But as of now, I don't believe it's part of any sort of slate that is known for Walt Disney Animation Studios. We've got Frozen coming out later this year, and I'm not sure. Looking ahead, if King of the Elves is going to make a return or not. Could certainly maybe be a surprise at the Expo, but I doubt it. It seems like all attention is on Frozen right now. So no, I don't have anything else for you, unfortunately. Todd writes in talking about video games. He said, I heard you mention in the half year in review about Disney World / Disneyland games that weren't that good. Here's a game that I had for PlayStation and enjoyed quite a bit. I'm into racing games, and that's a part of the reason I liked it so much. It's the Magical Racing Tour. And yes, Todd, it's one of the better Disney theme parks better games. It's been quite a few years, 13 years since that came out for the original PlayStation system, but it allows you to race kind of Mario Kart, go-kart style with Disney characters through recognizable rides. Essentially, there's a great Haunted Mansion level in that. Definitely one of the better games that was set in a park. Keith writes in and pointed me to a link on YouTube. It says, saw this video, and since I consider you to be a leading expert on all things Disney, I thought you might be able to clear some things up. According to this video, the Pirates of the Caribbean ride is actually haunted. Supposedly, the ride will malfunction if a ghost named George, an employee who supposedly died during the construction of the ride, is not greeted each morning by cast members and said goodnight to at the end of the day. True? Or just a bunch of hocus pocus? Keith, I've heard a lot about George, actually. A lot of cast members know George very well, and there have definitely been some creepy things that go on around pirates. I can't obviously confirm if there are indeed ghosts in the world. That's up to you, whether you believe that or not, depending on how many Travel Channel and sci-fi shows that you watch. But George is definitely a well-known character, if you will, for the Pirates of the Caribbean ride. And if you ask any cast member over there, I'm sure they'll have some sort of little spooky story to tell you. So I can't tell you whether it's true or just a bunch of hocus pocus, like you said. But there's just some strange things. That's all I'll say. Kristen writes in, says, I am a relatively short-term listener, but a huge fan of the show, and I have a question for you. My family is just starting to plan a vacation for Walt Disney World and have narrowed our hotel choices to either Coronado Springs or Caribbean Beach. We are torn as both hotels have their pros and cons, and we love the theme of both. The reason I'm writing this email is to ask for your opinion. Which one is your favorite? Kristen, easy choice for me. I like Coronado Springs. Caribbean Beach is nice, but the theme is too similar to kind of, it's Florida, it's palm trees, it's island life, etc. Coronado Springs is very different. It has a different feel. It kind of transports you away from the area. It's vast. It's certainly expansive. It has that great lake you can walk around. Certainly a great pool with the big pyramid kind of thing with the waterfall and all of that. It's just a nice place to be. The rooms are comfortable. So for me, Coronado is my choice. I'm sure there are plenty of people who would say, no, do Caribbean Beach instead, or even some of the others. But I say go for Coronado. Here's a bit of a longer email that came in from Anna, who writes, I happen to be a huge fan of Oswald and the whole brotherly relationship created between him and Mickey, and I really wish Disney would do more with that whole concept beyond just video games, which have a limited audience. Don't you think that whole concept has great potential? I mean, we have two brothers with comedic love-hate relationship that bicker and make smart remarks to each other, but are also family that care about each other and make a great team when needed. I can easily see that pair being very entertaining for perhaps an adventure-type show like Fantasmic, where they fight off a villain, or a magic show like the Oswald poster in Town Square. Meet and greet applies. It would also be a good way to steer Mickey away from his current cheesy preschool-like persona in the parks and give him some of his old personality and character flaws back, as well as giving him a partner to bounce off of. Plus, it would be quite amusing to have Oswald poking fun at Mickey's ego and immense popularity, in a lighthearted way, of course. I'd really love to see that someday, and I just hope they would keep Oswald as his brother and partner and not downgrade him to just another one of Mickey's sidekicks. sidekicks, seeing as they both share the same main Disney star spotlight and deserve to share it equally. I know they have the Oswald's Filling Station gift shop at Disney California Adventure, but what do you think about giving Oswald and Mickey an actual attraction together? I know they currently don't really have much to base an attraction off of for them, but Oswald and Mickey are the type of classic characters that can be molded into pretty much any role, seeing as they both break the fourth wall by acknowledging that they are literally cartoon characters. They could easily play the roles of treasure hunters, knights, firefighters, so on. There's a lot of freedom you could pretty much make about the show by just about anything you want without being limited to one storyline. Personally, I think a story about them as Yen Sid's two apprentices would be really fun, since they would no doubt get into a squabble and abuse their magic powers. I think if Disney would give the concept a chance, that it could even become a big thing with the two of them being a classic duo. Anna, great email, great questions, great suggestions. I am all for bringing Oswald into a much bigger role in the parks. In fact, Mickey and the Magical Map, the new stage show out at Disneyland, would have been a perfect opportunity to introduce Oswald into the parks. The show already features, as you said, Sorcerer Mickey and Yen Sid, and they definitely could have worked it in from that angle. They even essentially took the same Yen Sid computer-generated version from the Epic Mickey series. They absolutely could have worked in Oswald. Unfortunately, they did not. As far as I know, there are no plans at the moment to bring Oswald into the parks. I more so than just merchandise and, as you said, the Oswald filling station, gift shop, and that kind of thing. I absolutely would like to see any of that. Mickey is certainly a corporate icon now. He is as a little cheesy, like you said. It would be. It seems like Disney is taking a step back a little bit and looking at Mickey with more personality with those new shorts that they have online and on Disney Channel, which is great. They're giving him sort of his mischievous personality back, and to introduce Oswald into that world would be wonderful as well, and then bring that into the parks. So I agree with everything that you said. Whether or not Disney's going to do it, as usual, just wait and see. Next email is from Heather, who writes, I stumbled across your podcast recently and now look forward to every new episode. I'm in the final semester nursing student, taking summer classes, not fun in the least, but listening to your podcast on my way to school in the morning brightens my day. As a reward for finishing school, I'm planning a January trip to Disney World, and I would like to visit the Wizarding World of Harry Potter while in Orlando. I plan on staying at a Disney property and have not found a way to get to Universal. I don't plan on renting a car. Is there an easy way to get there, and is the trip, is it worth making the trip only for one day at the Wizarding World? Well, Heather, now I've answered this question actually quite a bit. You said you're a new listener here, so I'm sure you have missed it. It is a very common question because, the Harry Potter is a huge draw, as is, are many of the new attractions that Universal is pumping out. I think Disney is losing a day off of everybody's Disney trip lately as a result of what Universal is doing. Maybe if those who were planning a 4-day Disney trip might only be doing 3 days of Disney and now a day at Universal for that specific reason, like you just said. There is, you can't take Disney transportation to go over there, but there are a couple of different ways. You can certainly hop the Lynx bus system that we have here. It's, a little bit slow and cumbersome like any bus system tends to be, but it'll get you over there eventually. I actually recommend just taking a Mears shuttle. If you get a group together, it might be a little bit less expensive than if you're going by yourself, but either way, that'll get you over there in probably the most comfortable way possible. So I would look into that. And is it worth making the trip for a day at the Wizarding World? That depends on how big of a Harry Potter fan you are. You could easily spend a whole day exploring all the little tiny details around there, especially, if you've never been there, if you are a big Potter fan, or if you're just a fan of themed entertainment in general. And then you might want to explore the rest of the park as well. It's not just the Wizarding World. It is all of Islands of Adventure, and there are some great attractions there. Now, you said January. It's a little bit too soon for the best experience for Harry Potter, because Phase 2 of Potter over at the other Universal Park, Universal Studios Florida, is going to be opening up probably early summer, probably June of next year. So I don't know if you want to plan another trip to come back, or maybe delay yours by 6 months and then have an opportunity to see both, and give you an excuse to come back, which is always a good thing. So yes, I do think it is worth it to make it over there. It is a great park. It is certainly a great area of the Wizarding World, and it really should be seen by anybody who appreciates the amount of detail that can be put into an attraction, or a whole land for that matter, and I think you'll really enjoy it. We'll do just a few more emails here before wrapping it up. Next one's from Joey, who writes, first of all, love the show. Look forward to listening to it each and every week. Keep up the great work. I had a question that maybe you or the listeners could answer. In regards to World of Color, I was wondering if Disney has updated the show recently. I know for a while they were updating it frequently to promote new movies, and I have not seen or heard of any new segments since Brave was added. I really enjoyed whenever they added something new for an upcoming film, and I thought maybe Monsters U or the Lone Ranger part might be added. Secondly, when I went to see Monsters University, the Frozen teaser appeared before the film, and I just wanted to share that the entire time it showed, the audience, including myself, were laughing at everything, so much so that at the very end, with the final joke, everyone was laughing loudly going into the next preview. I thought this was great to hear the positive feedback from something that people aren't really sure what it is about, but are already wanting to see it. Joey, great questions and comments there. As far as World of Color, you're right. I think the last update, other than having a special July 4th version of the show, I think adding Brave was the last major one. I am surprised that they didn't add, as you said, Monsters University, Lone Ranger. It hasn't been doing so well, so I'm not terribly surprised that they didn't put that in there. But it seems like Monsters U would have been a good addition, although, I'm pretty sure the Monsters characters are already in there somewhere in the show. But Brave's kind of sticking around for now. And then as far as the Frozen trailer, or teaser for that matter, I'm really looking forward to seeing the sort of full plot revealing, character revealing version. I saw the teaser and it's okay. It's introducing the comic relief characters. Clearly everybody in the theater was laughing, but then again, everybody in theaters tends to laugh at a lot of things that I don't necessarily find funny. But I think Frozen's going to be a great movie once we see everything that is involved there, not just the comic relief. All right, one more email here comes in from Brittany, who writes, love listening to the show. My husband and I just recently became Orlando, Florida residents, and I was curious on the best places to catch deals on getting into each theme park in the area. Would an annual pass be the most cost-efficient, or are there other ins and outs we can learn? Brittany, great question. I've over the years of doing the show, a lot of people have written to me and said, hey, we're moving, we have moved, we're new, we're local now, we're going to go to the parks all the time. What do we do? And yes, an annual pass, if you're going to go a lot, is definitely the best way to go. Buying one-off tickets or multi-day tickets would get very, very expensive over time. The possible other way is if you've got somebody in your family or a very close friend who is a cast member who feels like getting you into the park on a regular basis. They have a limited number of times they can do that. You could do it that way, but, that's not really the best way to do it by any means. That's really, reserved for the cast members to have an extra little perk to get their, visiting friends and family in and then spending the day with them in the park. It's not designed for what you're saying. So really, annual passes is the way to go. Once you're local, you feel like you're going to go to Disney all the time, you feel like you're going to go to Universal all the time, maybe SeaWorld, maybe Legoland, who knows. It's expensive. You get a Florida resident discount. Make sure you look into that and maybe wait for a deal. Occasionally they do offer some extra Florida perks. It's not too frequent, but it does happen from time to time. An extra month, an extra 2 months, something like that on your pass. But if you can't wait, just go for it. Get the annual pass. You get a few discounts on merchandise and food here and there, and you will love every single minute of it. And that is it for listener feedback this week. And that's where I'm wrapping up show 432 of Inside the Magic. A closer look at both FastPass Plus and My Magic Plus and what we can expect for that in the coming months as Disney begins to roll that out at Walt Disney World, as well as a closer look at the Saving Mr. Banks trailer, which I haven't seen that yet. And go see it. Go over to InsideTheMagic.net and YouTube channel and watch it. Tens of thousands of people have been watching this thing and over and just glowing over it because it looks like it's going to be a really fun and funny movie, as well as have some touching bits, and of course Tom Hanks as Walt Disney. That's something special unto itself. Definitely go watch that, and I really, really encourage you to play along with The Optimist. I talked about it quite at length earlier. It's been a lot of fun. You really have to get into it. You have to buy into it. It's something it might be a little bit difficult to wrap your head around if you've never played one of these ARGs, the alternate reality games, before. It basically is just supplementing the real world. Take what you know about the real world, and it adds this sort of layer of fiction to it that you have to treat as real. It's basically playing pretend. Pretend these characters are real. Pretend you're really investigating something. Pretend, you're really emailing real people and that you're looking into websites and going to play, and once you sort of, suspend your disbelief a little bit and really play into it, it is a lot of fun. And a great community is developing as a result. I look forward to seeing where it goes over the next few weeks. As I said, go over to the InsideTheMagic.net and search for The Optimist. Look for the link there or in this week's show notes, and you'll see the very, very long and growing Google Doc that me and several other people are editing in order to stay up to date on all of the developments, and it is a lot of fun. Of course, I do want to thank Magical Travel for sponsoring this week's episode of Inside the Magic. You can find out more about their services by visiting magicaltravel.com. Don't forget also to search for Capturing Magic in the iTunes store for the apps for Walt Disney World and Disneyland to help you better plan and capture those magical moments whenever you are in those parks. And of course, between episodes of this show, InsideTheMagic.net is the website. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, all that good stuff, especially coming up with Comic-Con this week. Thanks for listening and for watching, and have a magical week. Bye.
Just a dream away.